Hello everyone and welcome to this video on the topic MBBS in Kazakhstan versus MBBS in Uzbekistan for Indian students in the year 2025. This is the most updated video on this topic. We have used the latest data of FMG passing percentage, and the information that I'm giving out in this video is based on my experience by visiting the country Kazakhstan, by visiting the country Uzbekistan in April 2025. So I have been to both these countries before also. I have sent students to both these countries, and even in 2025, I'm going to send students to study MBBS in Kazakhstan as well as MBBS in Uzbekistan. In this video on the comparison of MBBS in Uzbekistan versus Kazakhstan, we are going to cover a lot of topics. We are going to talk about the eligibility criteria. We are going to talk about the FMGL regulations which were introduced by NMC in 2021, and we are going to see how these two countries are tackling the FMGL regulations. We are going to talk about the duration, medium of instruction, the local language. We are going to talk about one of the most important topics, that is the budget to study MBBS in Kazakhstan and the budget to study MBBS in Uzbekistan. We are going to talk about the climate, the safety, the practical training, the infrastructure of the universities, and we are going to talk about another important topic, that is FMG passing percentage. We are going to talk about how you can travel from India to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and what is going to be the cost of that travel. We're going to talk about the admission process, the visa process, and we're going to talk about the intakes and most importantly, the top universities and their expected budget to study MBBS in Kazakhstan or MBBS in Uzbekistan for an Indian student in 2025. So first is the eligibility criteria. Most of the students might already be knowing about this. Whether you take admission in Kazakhstan or whether you plan to take admission to study MBBS in Uzbekistan, the eligibility criteria is the same. The first is that your age should be 17 years old on 31st December or before 31st December of the year in which you are taking admission. The next criteria is that you should be having physics, chemistry, bio in both 11th and 12th, and also you should be having English as a subject. Your 12th should be from a recognized board, and if you are a general category student, you must be having at least 50% marks in your class 12 board examination. That is, the aggregate of physics, chemistry, bio should at least be 50% marks, and if you are from any other category, then you should be having an aggregate of at least 40% in physics, chemistry and biology. You must be NEET qualified before you take admission, and NEET result is valid for a period of 3 years from the date of declaration of the results for MBBS abroad. The last eligibility criteria is that you have to clear an entrance examination or you have to pass an interview in case the university is taking any of these two things. Now we come to the most important topic, FMGL regulations, which were introduced by NMC of India in November 2021. Now any student who is taking admission for MBBS abroad in any country has to know about these rules and regulations, because this is going to affect each and every student who is going to study MBBS abroad. Now NMC has listed down few rules and regulations that you need to fulfill in order to be eligible to appear for next or FMG, whatever the licensing exam be at the time. So the FMGL regulation states that your minimum course duration should be 4.5 years or 54 months, just like it is in India. You have to do an internship of 1 year, which is going to be separate from the course. The medium of instruction for the entire course should be English. You have to study all the subjects that have been taught in India. After coming back to India and clearing FMG or next, whatever the licensing exam be at that time, you have to do 1 year of internship in India also. The next point is very important. NMC wants you to get a license to practice MBBS in the country from which you are completing your study. So for example, if you are studying MBBS in Kazakhstan, you have to get a license to practice as a doctor in Kazakhstan after the completion of your course, and that license should be at par to the license given to the local citizens of Kazakhstan. And the last point is that you are not allowed to take transfer. So now let's see how these two countries are fulfilling FMGL regulations. So the Indian Embassy in Kazakhstan states that the course duration is of 5 years and internship is of 1 year. So the duration of the MBBS course in Kazakhstan is 6 years. For a license to practice as a doctor in Kazakhstan, there is a licensing examination in 3 languages, and one of the 3 languages is English. So after the completion of your 6 years, there is a licensing examination in English. So you have to clear that examination, and you will get a license to practice as a doctor in Kazakhstan, and that license is at par with the license that is given to the local citizens. So when it comes to Kazakhstan, there's a good clarity on the licensing examination, duration, internship. So we can say that Kazakhstan is a good bet. Now if we talk about Uzbekistan, the universities in Uzbekistan state that the course duration is of 6 years, and out of that 6 years, 1 year is your internship, and for license there is no additional examination. Your degree will come with a registration number on the basis of which you can practice as a doctor in Uzbekistan. And of course, the medium of instruction is English in both the countries. Now we have already discussed some of these points. Number 1, the duration of the MBBS course in Kazakhstan as well as the duration of the MBBS course in Uzbekistan is 6 years. The medium of instruction in both these two countries is English, and the new point is that you will have to learn the local language in both the countries. So these points are same for both these countries. The next point is the budget to study MBBS in Kazakhstan as well as the budget to study MBBS in Uzbekistan. So during counseling sessions, a lot of students and parents ask me what is the budget to study MBBS in XYZ country or XYZ university. So see, my definition of budget might be different from the definition of budget of different consultants, because see, I try to tell each and every expense, whereas other consultants in India, they only tell students about the tuition fees, they only tell students about the hostel fees, and they don't tell them about all the other expenses. They keep it hidden. But that is not how we work at Global Medical Foundation. So before I tell you the budget to study MBBS in these two countries, I'll tell you what I mean by budget. And also, if you understand what I'm going to tell you in the next few minutes, it will be very easy for you to calculate the budget of studying MBBS in any country or any university. So I have divided the budget into 5 parts. The first part is tuition fees and hostel fees. So whenever you ask for a fee structure from any particular consultant, just calculate what the total tuition fees is and what the hostel fees is going to be. For example, let's say the tuition fees of some XYZ university is $4,000 and hostel fees per year is $1,000. So now it is very easy for you to understand or calculate the first expense. The per year tuition fees and hostel fees is $5,000. 6 years is the course. So just multiply 5,000 into 6. So $30,000 is your tuition fees and hostel fees. Multiply it by the current exchange rate and you will understand what is going to be the number one expense. The second expense is consultancy fees and visa fees paid in India. So this is an one-time expense. For example, you are going to pay your consultancy 1 lakh rupee as their service charges for your entire admission process and whatever they are promising, and also for the first time visa. The third point is OTC or one-time charges. You need to know what these charges are and you need to ask that question from your consultant. So what is the OTC? What are the other expenses that you have to bear each and every year, right from the first year till the time you complete the course? These expenses could be university development charges. These expenses could be registration. These expenses will be visa extension, medical insurance that you have to pay year after year. So these are some expenses that you need to know about, because in a country like Uzbekistan, the cost of visa extension and the cost of registration could be as much as 50,000 rupees per year. Some expenses are one-time expenses like OTC, university development charges that you need to calculate only for the first year. The rest of the expenses might be yearly. So you need to calculate what these yearly expenses are also. The next point is Indian mess or food and personal expenses. Now this is an expense that you are going to incur no matter where you go. Even if you stay in India, you are going to have some personal expenses and you are going to eat. I don't suggest that you add these two things in the budget, but still students want to know about these expenses and it is important because I tell all my students about these two expenses also. The minimum charges of the Indian mess right now in any university abroad is 1 lakh rupees per year, and Indian mess is compulsory for the first year in most of the universities. So you need to calculate your budget accordingly. If you are going to avail the services of Indian mess for entire 6 years, so the budget required for Indian mess alone is going to be somewhere between 6 to 6.5 lakh rupees. In case you are going to avail the services of Indian mess only for the first year and from the second year onwards, you are going to cook food for yourself. Then in the first year, you are going to spend around 1 lakh rupee, and from second year onwards, you can manage your own food expenses. That might be around 4 to 5,000 rupees per month or around 40-50,000 per year. So your overall budget goes down drastically once you start cooking food for yourself. So depending on what you want to do in the future, you have to add expenses accordingly. So talking about the budget to study MBBS in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, it is more or less the same again. Both these countries have universities with similar level of budgets. So if I talk about the budget of studying MBBS in Uzbekistan, the average budget required to study in Uzbekistan for an Indian student is 30 to 35 lakh rupees for entire 6 years. That will include everything apart from your personal expenses and flight ticket expenses. And in some cases, it will include your flight ticket expenses also. If you don't choose to avail the services of Indian mess from the second year onwards, in that case, your budget might be less than 30 lakh rupees also. Now, if I talk about MBBS in Kazakhstan, the most popular university is Kazakh National Medical University, and the budget to study there is going to be around 40-45 lakh rupees. So yes, there are universities in Kazakhstan where the budget required to study MBBS is between 40-45 lakh rupees, again, which does not include your personal expense and travel expenses. But in most of the other universities in Kazakhstan, the budget is going to be somewhere between 30-35 lakh rupees. So yes, you will find universities of similar budget in both these countries. So the next point is climate. In short, if I tell you which country has better climate for Indian students, then the answer is Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is a country where in summers the temperature will be as high as 45 degrees, just like it is in India. But during winters, it is going to be a bit more colder than the tropical climate of India. There is going to be snowfall also, but it is not going to be very cold. But in the case of Kazakhstan, there are cities where the temperatures will be in minus for 5 to 6 months. So in terms of climate, Uzbekistan is more suitable. And because of the similarity in climate, you will find that Uzbekistan has a similar similar disease pattern, just like that of India. And because of that, Indian students find more patients who have similar diseases to the diseases which are prevalent in India. Next point is safety. Both countries are very safe for Indian students. Both the countries have an estimate of 10 to 15,000 Indian students studying there right now. Now, if we compare the practical exposure received by the students in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, I can assure you that Uzbekistan is the clear winner, because I have been in contact with a lot of students, and each and every student that I have spoken with who's studying in Uzbekistan has told me that the practical exposure in Uzbekistan is excellent, whereas in Kazakhstan it will depend on the city you are going to, it will depend on the university you are going to. If we compare the feedback that I have received from the students in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, I can very well say that the practical training in Uzbekistan is better than the practical training received by the Indian students in Kazakhstan. The next point is infrastructure, and it is important to know the infrastructure of not only the university but also the city where you are going to. So if you are going for MBBS in Kazakhstan, my suggestion is to go to cities like Almaty, Shymkent or Astana. And if you are going to study MBBS in Uzbekistan, the good cities are Tashkent, Samarkand and Bukhara. So my suggestion is to go to these cities. Both the countries are developing countries. Now comes the next point, that is the FMG passing percentage. So see, Kazakhstan is an older destination for Indian students, whereas Indian students have started selecting Uzbekistan after the Ukraine-Russia war. So before that, very few Indian students used to go to study in Uzbekistan, and Indian students started to go to Uzbekistan in huge number only after 2022. So if we look at the FMG passing percentage, the number one point that I want to tell is that there is a huge difference in the number of students who appeared for FMGE after graduating from Kazakhstan. So in 2024, more than 5,000 students appeared for FMG after studying from Kazakhstan, and the passing percentage was around 25%. But from Uzbekistan, only 490 students appeared, and out of these 490 students, 299 students appeared from Bukhara State Medical Institute, which had a passing percentage of 48%. So Uzbekistan passing percentage is very high, but it is mainly because of Bukhara State Medical Institute. And if you look at the passing percentage in 2023, Kazakhstan only had 13% and Uzbekistan only had 12%, but again, there is a huge difference in the number of students who appeared for FMGE. In 2023, the overall passing percentage was not very high. Then if you look at the passing percentage in 2022, you can see that only 19 students appeared after graduating from Uzbekistan. So it is not really useful to look at the passing percentage. But from Kazakhstan, more than 21% students passed FMGE. So you can say that the average FMG passing percentage of the students from Kazakhstan is going to be somewhere between 20-25%. And I believe that Uzbekistan has the potential to surpass the FMG passing percentage of the universities in Kazakhstan. So next point is relationship with India, and both the countries have excellent relationships with India. The next point is the duration of travel and the cost. So I've been to Kazakhstan and I've been to Uzbekistan multiple times. There are direct flights to both the countries. If you are traveling between India and Kazakhstan, there are direct flights available between Almaty and Delhi. Duration of the flight is around 3.5 hours. And the cost is going to be around 12 to 15,000 rupees. If you are traveling between India and Uzbekistan, there are direct flights between Delhi and Tashkent. Tashkent is the capital of Uzbekistan. The duration of the flight is only 3 hours, and it is going to cost you somewhere between 9,000 to 12,000 rupees. So the duration and the cost is more or less the same for both the countries. Now, if I talk about the admission process and visa process, which also includes the visa extension process, I can say that Kazakhstan has an edge over Uzbekistan. See, the admission process is very simple in both the countries. The visa process is also simple. That is the visa that you get for the first time. But after reaching Kazakhstan or after reaching Uzbekistan, you have to get your visa extended every year. In Kazakhstan, this process is very simple, but in Uzbekistan, this is a complicated process because visa extension can take a lot of time. Now, if I talk about the intakes, then both Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan have 2 intakes, September and February intake. All the universities in both the countries will be participating in the September intake, but some universities might not participate in the February intake. The last topic is the top universities in Kazakhstan and the top universities in Uzbekistan. So if I talk about Kazakhstan, the most popular university is Kazakh National Medical University, which is located in Almaty. The other popular universities are Astana Medical University, which is located in the capital Astana, and Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, which is again located in Almaty. The world ranking of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University in 2025 is 163 as per QS rankings. So it is one of the highest ranking universities in the world. And in 2024, it had the highest FMG passing percentage among all the universities in Kazakhstan and also among all the universities in Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan and Russia. Al-Farabi Kazakh National University had a passing percentage of over 51%, which was highest in 4 countries. Talking about the top universities for MBBS in Uzbekistan, the most popular choices are Tashkent Medical Academy, which is located in the capital, that is Tashkent. Bukhara State Medical Institute, which is the #1 ranked medical university by the Ministry of Education of Uzbekistan in 2024. It also had the highest FMG passing percentage among all the universities in Uzbekistan, and the other most popular university is Samarkand State Medical University. which is located at a distance of around 2 hours via train from Tashkent. So these are the most popular universities in Uzbekistan. Now, if you have any doubts, you can ask your questions in the comment section. I will be personally replying to each and every question. And if you're looking for admission in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, or Georgia, you can contact Global Medical Foundation. My number is mentioned on the screen, that is 9999404348. So I hope that you found this video useful, and for more updates on MBBS abroad, subscribe to the channel of Global Medical Foundation.